Okay, so we'll just take a little bit of a look at your gameplay here. Oh wow, this is decently laggy. Hopefully that goes
Is it
away.
my stream?
Yeah, is it laggy on your end?
Uh,
It's not laggy when you tabbed out there, but then as soon as you tab back in, it's lagging around.
when it goes to Overwatch, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
All right. So first thing we're looking at here is our team comp. We're taking a look at it, going, okay, what's our best nano targets? So we can kind of think through that. So we already have those targets in mind. I think we have a we have a May. What was our other DPS?
It's a main, it's a
Soldier. Okay,
soldier.
so nano visor on this map is probably going to be our best bet, and then our second best nano target is probably going to be nano whole hog with our hog. So those are going to be the ults that we're going to be looking for. Okay, so when we know that we're going up against a Genji Tracer, got to be very, very careful about our nade usage and our sleep usage. Probably save it more for yourself, right? Don't use it as much, just tossing it out there. With your nade, look to position next to health packs, and if at all possible, stick with your team. By the way, yeah, I think the lag's workable with. It shouldn't be too much of an issue here. But yeah, we're always gonna need to change up our play style based off of what our team's running and what the enemy team's running. So we're gonna change our nano targets based on what our team's running, and we're going to be changing our positioning and um, the decisions that we're making based off the enemy team. So they're on a dive, so look to stick with your tanks a little bit more often and use nade on ourselves a little bit more often when we end up getting dove. Okay, there we're a little bit far forward. Right, make sure that we isolated ourselves by going in that room on our own. So maybe just stick right, like I was saying, with your tanks a little bit more often. Like you can just stand on top
Yeah.
of your hog, and then just make sure that you're not the last on the backup. You're the first on the backup, right? You want to be behind your team, not in front of your team or away from your team.
Wow.
Okay, good round. Look to put a little bit more effort into your sleeps here. With your nades, you can, like we were talking about, just save them for yourself. Most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
your nades and your sleeps are going to be the biggest utility that you can get, right? It's the most important part of your kit. And if you're landing big nades and you're landing big sleeps, you're going to be carrying Azana and be able to do more Azana. Here, since we're not going to be looking for actively looking for nades, and we're probably going to save them for ourselves more often, the big thing we need to just think about is our sleeps, right? We didn't get any sleeps last round, so just make sure that we're looking to land those and put a lot of our brain power into landing those sleeps. Yes, the stream's getting very bad, and I'm gonna open up Overwatch, and then I'll just friend you in game so I can spectate you rather than
Yeah, sweet.
having to go through the stream. Oh, are you on American or European servers?
American.
All right. Yeah, I just sent you a friend request if you want to go accept that. Thank you. And then whenever you get the chance, you can probably just stop streaming. Okay, I'm spectating you now. Oh, he accidentally left chat.
Traveling to Nepal.
Okay, now I'm on you. Actually have sound now, and FPS is great. Okay. Make sure we're thinking through our nano targets a bit better. Nano visor is gonna be a more powerful nano than a nano on a monkey is, right? Nano on a Winston is a very good nano, but just keep in mind, this is why we go over at the beginning of the game what is the best nano, because a lot of the time, that's gonna be hard to just pick in the middle of the fight. We want to pick that out before the fight starts. So we kind of want to come up with a priority list in our head. Okay, number 1 is going to be Nano Soldier when he has Visor. Number 2 is going to be Nano Hog when he has his ult. And then Nano 3 would be if we want a Nano Monkey, right? And then we'd go to the next person if let's say, for example, Soldier doesn't have his ult, or Soldier's dead, or Hog's dead, right? So we just go to the next person.
This will help. Regen burst activated. Get back in the fight. Огонь по готовности. Дай вида. Group up with me. You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay, good nano combo. Okay, so it looks like we're hitting a decent amount of shots with our normal mechanics. We're reloading fine. Probably say the biggest thing so far is going to be our ability usage. We didn't seem to be landing a ton of anti-nades there, and keep in mind that anti-nade is very powerful ability. Okay, it's very unique, stops people from being able to heal, and therefore is going to be very good if you can land that on like 2+ people a fight, right? Monkey. Yeah, so look to use that a little bit more consistently for the damaging. Probably most of the time you're going to be looking to use that like 60% of the time for the anti purposes, and then the other 40 would be for healing. You're really only going to want to use it for healing if you have like somebody who's critical and you need it for the burst healing. So pay attention to their health bars, see if they need the healing, and if they don't, then just look for the anti-nade. Okay, there we didn't like cross the doorway with our team, so we isolated ourselves from our team. Make sure we're kind of going with them. Well, I'll demonstrate some more after this game. We'll go over that further in depth. But if you can't see your team, then you're not able to heal them, and you're gonna be able to get killed a lot easier.
Watching your back. Get inside.
in the fight.
Let them up. Tactical visor activated. Resistance neutralized. Enemies detected. Sweet.
Okay, make sure you're not rushing to sleep, right? When you're aiming at a Bob, that's an AFK target, right? It's not gonna move, so don't make sure you're not whiffing that shot because it's gonna be very, very easy to land as long as you're making sure you're not messing it up, right? So put a little thought into it. Again, like that, we'll go over it again and we'll go over how to land our abilities a little bit easier, but make sure that we're putting effort into our abilities because those are the things that are going to help us win games and help us as Ana leave an impact in the game.
Just a scratch, you'll be fine.
Thank you. Enemy contact.
Go. I can do you. This will help.
Everyone heal up.
I will keep you healed.
Let them up.
Okay, so again, crossing choke a little bit late, right? Go with your team because they can help you get through. You can stick with your tanks, which makes it really easy for you to cross because then you have something to stop the snipers, right? So they can't shoot at you. But because we crossed in late there, we can't see our team for the whole time while they're on point, and because they're out of our line of sight. And we end up dying through when we cross choke. So make sure you're crossing choke with your
You're
team.
going to be okay.
Okay, here who are we looking to nano?
Depends, but Soldier's got his ulti, so.
Yep, so probably gonna be our soldier this fight. Right, so we want to be thinking about that before the fight happens, right? So we can get that off a little bit more efficiently when the fight happens.
Helden sterben nicht. Огонь по готовности.
Tactical visor
You're
activated.
powered up. Get in there. Get clear.
Let them up. My ultimate is charged.
Oh, you look
Okay, nice sleep.
and ahead with the minute.
Take the pain.
That time.
Okay, so I am going to stream on Discord if you want to go take a look. So we are gonna go over a bunch of different things here, but just real quick, I'm gonna go down the line of like just where just off of that first game, I think you stand with like all of your
Never
different
stop fighting for
aspects
what
of
you
Honest
believe in.
kit. Okay, first off, I think that your standard like shooting for both healing and damaging enemies, and then also your reloading are both pretty decent. Okay, you're not whiffing a ton of shots. Your reloading seems to be going okay at the decently right times, right? I'll have to take more of a look at those, and and when we get into some more quick like matches here. But for the most part, those seem to be pretty decent so far. Your nade and sleep usage really, really need a lot of work. And we'll go over that in a second here of how we can use those a little bit better. But just keep in mind here that those are going to be two of the big things because as Ana, those are going to be how you carry, right? You can, if you're just regularly healing people and shooting at people, that's how you do your job, right? A support's job is to heal, and for us to just shoot people to heal them or shoot people to damage them, that's just us doing honest stuff, right? We're just doing our job. Now, if we're trying to win games and carry and rank up and improve at the game, we need to learn how to do more than a job. We need to learn how to do two people's jobs. We need to learn how to carry other people. So to do that, we need to get good at landing anti-nades and get good at landing sleeps because the more we whiff those, the less impact we're going to have on the game. Your positioning is going to be a big thing that needs improvement on, along with a little bit of game sense stuff. But for the most part, that doesn't seem like that doesn't seem like a big issue. Um, so we'll just go ahead and get started on kind of the demonstration stuff. First off, we'll just start with a setting here. Have you edited your on and nano sensitivity at all?
No, I
No?
didn't
Okay.
even know there was a nut. Okay.
Yep. So if you go to your controls, and then all heroes, and Ana should be the first one on the list there.
Yeah.
And then you scroll down to nano boost sensitivity.
Yeah.
What this will do is basically, you want to lower that to like 50-ish or 60, something like that. Basically, what this means is that the nano boost will be closer to your crosshair when you're nanoing people. So this can
Ah,
make it
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
That's actually a lot better.
Yep, that way you're going to be able to land nails a little bit easier in a crowd of people, but then also it's not making, you want a little bit of leniency with it so that you're not having to look directly at somebody when you're trying to nano them, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so next thing we're going to work on is when to use what type of scope. Okay, so as Ana, you have 3 different types of scope. You have your unscoped shot, you have your scope shot, and then you have your quick scope shot. Okay. Now I think you do pretty okay with your unscoped to scoped. Though I want to see a little bit of the quick scope implemented in certain scenarios. We'll go over when all of these are applicable. So your unscoped shot is going to be, of course, it's a close range ability because it is a projectile case, and projectiles are harder to land at ranges because it's hard to predict where it's going. So within 10 meters of somebody, so that is from here to that bot on a squishy target, so that's anything that's not a tank. Okay, so from here to there on a non-tank is going to be unscoped. Okay, from 15 meters, which is from here to that on any tank, is going to be an unscoped. Anything further than that on a non-tank is going to be scoped. Anything further than this on any character in the game is going to be scoped. Okay, because with scope you have the advantage of being able to see further. You have the advantage of a slower sensitivity, which is going to allow you to hit shots further. Plus, the big thing here is that your shot now becomes an instant shot rather than a projectile. Okay, projectile when you're unscoped, instant shot when you're scoped. And
Mm.
so, basically, the disadvantages of your scope is that now you have a very slow movement speed and you have a limited visibility. Okay, so this makes you very easy to kill because someone can just walk up to you and headshot you, right? Because you're not moving very fast. So headshot people, you're very easy to kill when you're like that, and you can't really see what's going on around you. So what quick scoping does for you is it takes a little bit of both of those and it mixes it together. So we get the instant shot effect at a long range while also having our mobility and visibility. And the reason why you don't use this all the time is because it does have a slower rate of fire, right, than if you're just holding it in, because you have to wait for the animation to happen, right, to keep doing this quick scoping, whereas if you're just like this, you're going to be shooting a lot faster. But this is useful in 2 different scenarios. Okay, first off, when you're under pressure. So let's say we have a Genji on us, or Tracer, or something like that, yet there's somebody critical over there who we need to heal, right? So we can quick scope them while still being able to move around and have the same mobility the same, right? And it's not going to be easy for them to kill us while we're still getting the advantage of the long range, the instant shot, right? So it's going to be easier to hit the shot at a longer range even though we are not scoped in. So we're going to want to use that when somebody's at a longer range and they need healing and we are under pressure. Whereas if we're under pressure and somebody's right next to us, we can just unscope, right? Now, the other time this is useful is if we are pushing into a fight, right? So if we're coming back from spawn, or maybe we're just lagging behind our team, right? We don't want to be slowly walking forward while we're scoped in on our team. Even though they're far away from us, we want to be quick scoping while we're walking in so that we can be healing our team and doing whatever while also moving forwards, right? Because if we're fully scoped in the whole time we're walking forwards because they're all the way down there, then we're moving very slowly and approaching our team slowly. So whenever we're trying to come back from spawn or if our team's far ahead of us, we might want to just regular walk up to them. Now, moving on from that, we're going to go over 2 different types of positioning here. Okay, so positioning is one of the big things that you're struggling with, and we're going to go over how to make your positioning better. First off, you have general positioning. Now, this positioning is going to apply to you, Ana, and every other character in the game, and every other FPS game ever. Okay, this is going to apply to all FPS games in existence here. So, basically, the good positioning is the usage of cover, whereas bad positioning is the absence of cover. If we are standing right here, and this is 6 enemies, and they're all ulting at us, right? It takes us 1, 2, 3 seconds before we're behind cover, and they can no longer ult us, and we're safe, right? They can't kill us now. Okay? In that time it takes us to walk here, we are dead. Because there's an absence of cover here. That's bad positioning. Whereas if we're standing right here, we can sleep the same, and we can nade the same, we can shoot the same, we can nano the same, right? We can do everything the same, except for it takes us half a second to get behind cover. So this is much better positioning, because now we are using cover, we have the usage of cover. So good positioning for the most part is going to be the usage of cover. And there's a lot of different forms of cover. We can use something like a slant here, okay, where we can go up and down, and they can see us. Now they can't see us, right? We can use pillars, right? If we need to reload, we can duck behind cover. If we're low HP, we can duck behind cover, right? Or if like we're getting sniped at or something like that, you have a corner like this. Okay, we can come in and use like objects like this. Now they can't see us. Pillar, corner, doorway, corner, right? Okay, now that's general positioning, right? That's going to apply to all characters in the game. Now this is Ana specific positioning. This is really just going to apply to Ana and maybe a few of the other supports. Okay. Now with Ana specific positioning, you have 3 check marks you are trying to check off. Okay. So every time you're positioned on Ana, you're trying to think these 3 things in your head. Number 1, can I see my team? Okay. This is a no duh, but this is still something that I saw you struggling with, is if we can't see our team, right? Teammates there, we're here, that means we can't heal them, therefore we don't get value, right? We can't heal our team from here because we're out of LOS, so we need to move into their line of sight, right? So that we can see them and we can heal them, right? So we need to always have sight lines on the majority of our team, right? Sometimes somebody will go off on their own, right? And if we have somebody on the other side of the map, right? If our teammate's all the way over there, then we don't go out of our way to get to them if we're in the middle of a fight, okay? But for the most part, we're trying to see our whole team, the majority of our team, okay? Okay, so let's say in this example, our team is positioned here on this, fighting over on this corner, and the enemy team is positioned here. Okay, so our teams are fighting over this corner. Okay, these, like, yeah, we have to see our team. Second check mark, the second thing we're looking for is, can the enemy team see us? Okay, we do not want the enemy team to see us because on Ana, we don't have very high damage output. Okay, we're not a DPS, we don't do a whole lot of damage. Therefore, if we're exposing ourselves to the enemy, they're going to be doing more damage to us than we can do to them. So it's better that we don't let them see us. If we're positioned here, yes, we can see our team, but we will be taking a lot of unnecessary spam. Okay, abilities like Fire Strike and Coalescence will go through shields to hit us. We have the chance of getting sniped and getting one shot. And then overall, this is just going to distract us from being able to heal our team, right? Because the enemy team can just shoot at us and we have a higher chance of dying. Whereas if we stand right here, now we have checked 2 boxes off our list, right? Because we can see our team and the enemy team can no longer see us, right? Because we don't need to be able to see the enemy team until the 3rd check mark here, which is, can we land, are we in a position to where we can land nades and sleeps, right? We want to be somewhere where we can land nades and sleeps because, as we discussed, that is the most important part of our kit. So very, very simple way to do this is we just back up here, okay? So if we are now here, we can see our team the same, enemy team can't see us. If we see our whole team is not about to die, no one's critical, then what we can do is take a 3-second detour, go 1, 2, 3, okay? Now we have a perfect position to where we can go nade, okay? That's a 6-man nade, sleep, and then we're very, very safe to where we can drop back to our team if we need to, or we can just stay up here because high ground a lot of the time is very good positioning. So what this is called is an off angle, okay? You want to look for off angles to where you can go and land a very big fat nade because it means that your whole team's not in the way and you're getting behind their shields or tanks if they have those abilities, right? This would be an off angle, right, where you can just come to the side. It's a different angle from your team, okay? This is not an off angle. This is called a flank. If we go and do this and we run all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, right? And we need them, right? Why this is bad is now we're not in a safe position. They're going to turn around and they're going to kill us and we're going to die. Okay, so this wasn't a safe position and this took us a very long time. This took us 10 seconds rather than 3 seconds. And in that time, our team probably died. Okay, so go for off angles, not flanks. Flanks take a long time and they're dangerous. Off angles are short and they get a lot of value and you're safe. Okay, so those are the 3 check marks for Ana positioning. Okay, make sure with our nades that we're making sure that they're getting around their teammates, right? In the same way that when we nano, we want to be picking out the person we're trying to nano and we're not letting somebody else steal it. With our nades, if we're trying to hit the enemy over there, we can't let somebody else on our team clip it, right?
Take your medicine.
We can't let it hit them. So instead, we move to the side, right? So now we're good, right? We're out of their it's not the nade's not gonna hit them anymore, right? We can move to the side, and we can move in front of them, right? If we're back to this positioning, we can just stand in this corner, and if the off angle's not an option, we can just walk forwards here and throw a nade. That way we can walk past shield, and we can walk past our whole team, and that makes the nade a little bit easier. I think in your games that you're playing, you're going for a lot of nades, but they just ended up hitting your team. Okay, we're gonna go over one more thing, and then you can hop into another queue. Okay, now this is an Ana tech thing. If you scope in with Ana, okay, this only works if you're scoped. And you take your ultimate charge and you line it up with an enemy, your nade will hit them from
This
any
will only
rank.
hurt for a minute.
Or not any, I said any rank. Any height, any length, any distance, okay? So you can do it from there, you can do it from here. It's more actually gonna be like towards the Q button, right? It's gonna be like towards the button at the bottom there. So we can wait until like
Oh,
go in the
no
room.
shit.
This is going to hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be helpful for long distance nades, though you're not gonna want to use this for like a close range nade, of course, because like
Yeah.
why are you gonna use it here when you could just eyeball it?
ده هيكون مؤلم.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
That's actually safe. I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
cool as.
Yep. One more thing, and then we'll move on. Sorry about that. We're going over a lot here.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
It's very useful.
Make sure we're looking to land nades at feet of enemies. We're never or teammates, right? We're never trying to hit people with it. Okay, and the reason why is one, this is a lot easier to do, right? When you're landing nade on something and not a person, it's much easier to land because you have big giant radius where you can hit this versus the one tiny person where you're trying to hit this. Okay, so it's gonna be much easier. Plus, if you're hitting a person, they will body block it from hitting other people, right? If we throw a nade here, it just hits this person because it hit this side of them and it didn't transfer to this person. Whereas if we hit the feet, even if we throw the nade here at this guy's feet, okay, it's still going to hit both of them because of the giant radius. So it's going to be much easier to land if we're aiming for feet, as well as the fact that we're going to be hitting more people for aiming for feet. Okay. Okay, so you can go ahead and hop into a game. I'm going to stop the stream. So that was a lot of information taken. Probably say the biggest ones to just keep in mind are the stuff we went over with nades and the stuff we went over with positioning. Okay, I am spectating you now.
That's quick.
Or maybe not. It's not loading for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. The game's not loading.
Oh, never mind. I'm entering game now.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, whenever I can't see the teammates, but in a second here, when they all unlock, we're just gonna go over real quick. Who are, in your opinion, the 3 best nano targets here in order?
It reminds me of home.
Probably the monkey. Moira using her ulti and Diva at this point.
Yep. Okay. Very good. I definitely want to see what the other DPS is because he could definitely be something
Yeah,
like a Genji, and that'd be really
change
good
that
too.
order up. Yeah.
Yep. But for now, you're definitely correct, right? Those are probably going to be the order of ultimates that you're wanting to use. So keep that in mind because that's going to help us get off nanos more efficiently if we're pre-planning it, right? If we're coming into like, for example, like a test, right? We're going to into exam. We're gonna do a lot better when we've been studying than if it's a pop quiz, right? So if you have a plan coming into this, then you're gonna be able to land that nano a lot easier than if you're just doing it off reaction. Okay, we do have a soldier now, so keep in mind that is probably going to be a new good one, right? We probably go for nano visors, and then monkey'd be number 2.
Need healing.
Okay, so next thing we're doing is we're pressing tab. Does our gameplay change at all? They don't have flankers, so we don't need to watch and listen for our backlines, but they do have a Widowmaker, so we have to be very, very careful
I keep you
about, how we're positioning, and we can't let them see us. Okay. They also are not on a dive, so we are mainly going to be looking to use our nades aggressively on them, right? Okay, so we almost have a nano here. If we're pressing tab kind of consistently, and that's something you want to be doing, we no longer have a soldier, so monkey's our new best tank to be nanoing here, or best character to be nanoing. But he might have disconnected. Yes, he did. Okay, so change of plans. We're now nanoing probably Moira when she gets cold.
patched up.
I need healing.
Watching your back.
Sigma present. Barrier in place. Barrier unstable. Barrier out of
Take your medicine.
Okay, she's using Cole out of her line of sight, so we probably want to go for the Sigma now, right? We're always going to be making, once we get this new information, we're always going to be making different decisions. Make sure you're not sitting at 50 HP, right? Nade yourself. Don't want to sit that low for too long. Okay. Make sure you're not holding on to your ultimate, right? The longer we wait on using our ultimate, the less value we're going to get out of it, and we're going to end up losing fights, and then we're not going to be able to use it. So when fights are about to start, try to use it a bit earlier. And the more frequently you use your ult, the more often you'll get it, and the more value you'll get out of it.
I've seen that. You're going to live.
Okay, here we probably just want to wait on our tanks for a second, and then we can just nano as soon as we get in.
I will keep you
activating
here.
the barrier. Winston reporting.
Okay, make sure that when people are moving fast, like the Ryan or the Lucio, for example. Ryan from last map that we played, where he was charging, we ended up missing him. Go in front of them. Don't try to track behind them.
Healed up.
Right? Go ahead of where they're walking, and then your shots will be much easier. Right, a little bit faster, right? They're using their ults first, which means that they end up killing you guys and they win the fight before we get to use our ults.
Needs me.
Okay, so if we use our ults first, we'll hopefully be able to win the fight before they can use their ults, right? So faster we use our ults, the more value we're gonna get out of them. And we've now held on to it for like 2+ fights, which means we could have had 2 by now, right?
You're powered up. Get in there.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, she's coming to close on that one because she had used it a little bit earlier, so probably swap it up to like the monkey or something like that.
Heal up.
Okay, so keep in mind that when you're landing nades, okay, it's a situation of a good defense is a good offense, right? If we're being offensive with our nades and we're getting a good nade off, that creates pressure on the enemy team. It means that they can shoot at your team less, and gives your team more space, right? It's essentially like a ability that pressures them. which means that your team will take less damage, which will mean that you won't need it for your self-healing, right? So look to use your nade for the anti-nade purposes, and you'll be able to push through this choke a lot easier.
All soldiers are hard to kill. Get here.
Okay, good nade on the Zarya. Okay, yep. So far, two biggest things are using your ult faster and nade usage, right? Make sure we're looking to use that aggressive and use it for the anti, just like we used on the Zarya, okay? Because a lot of the time, we're not even really looking for it. We're just kind of staring at our team and healing them. And then because we're doing that the whole time, we're never looking for opportunities to land nades, right? Make your healing more of an autopilot thing and think about your nades a little bit more, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This is going to hurt. Enemy turret here. You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay. Good ult usage there, but also you gotta pay attention to your health, right? And the fact that there's a tracer on us, and we did have our nade in our sleep when we were dead. So look to use those, and we have the chance for living. And that's the type of thing where we can kind of self-improve by looking for that type of thing, right? How did I die? Did I have my abilities with me? Did I use my abilities too early? Was I out of position? In that case, we hadn't used our abilities, which means that we could have maybe lived if we did use our abilities.
You're covered.
That's unfortunate. Not much you can do there. But yeah, like self-improvement. I essentially got
Mm-mm.
from silver to top 500 all from self-improvement. I never got a coaching session up until like a week before I quit the game. And basically is all self-taught, okay? And my 3-step self-improvement process is essentially just identify mistake, right? A lot of the time deaths are a big mistake that you can identify, and you'll be able to think, okay, was I positioned wrong? Was I using my abilities wrong? What was I doing wrong, right? Once we identify that, you want to identify what could I have done instead, right? For example, with our last death, or it's like 2 deaths ago, right? Instead of not using our abilities, we use our abilities, right? So we've identified what the problem is, what the solution is, and then we want to apply that solution in our future games, right? So we think of an application. There, right? A little too close on cart, right? Back up.
Yeah.
If you're backing up, that means you can just heal your team from a distance, and then they're not able to shoot at you very easily, right? We get nano. We didn't use our nano when we could have, right? So just play a little bit more passive and we don't end up dying there. And then that's ways that you can self-improve for yourself. And even when our coaching session is done, you can keep improving just throughout your games.
You're powered up. Get in. Take your medicine.
That's unfortunate.
I've come back from worse.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Oh, they got it. Yeah.
Regen burst
You're
activated.
going to be okay.
Barrier active.
I've seen worse. You're going to live. Nail.
Okay. Identify if the fights is won or lost, and if it's lost, you either get out if possible or you die as fast as possible. There, because we had lost the fight and we had multiple people on top of us, don't try to get out because you're most likely going to die. You're not going to be able to
Yeah.
get out. And then what you do is you stagger, and now look at where your team's at when you're just walking back, right? So now they're engaging when we don't have a line of sight on them, which isn't good. So don't want to stagger, try to just get out as fast as possible. And we'll talk more on that subject in a second. Yeah, okay, so since we died there. So how to know when a fight's won and lost, okay? What we can do is watch kill feed, okay? Kill feed gives us a really, really good kind of guide on the flow of a fight, right? If we're up 1 to 2 people, that means we have an advantage. If we're up 2 to 3 people, we've pretty much won the fight. And in that case, we don't want to use more ultimates. And when we up picks, we want to be playing much more aggressive because they have less people to punish us. Now, I'll continue on that topic and after this fight's done. Okay, good nade. Unfortunate. Keep in mind you did have a sleep there too, right? Watch your abilities, and that's another death where we can just look at it and go, okay, well I died with sleep, I died with nano, right? We could have nanoed and then maybe we wouldn't have lost the game because we have nano online. Okay, so continuing off of what I was saying before that fight happened, and it goes the opposite way too. If we're down 1 to 2 people, that's a disadvantage. Okay, you want to play a little bit more passive, but you didn't lose the fight yet. Okay, once you're down 2 to 3 people, that's pretty much a lost fight. Okay, you want to be looking to get out or die as fast as possible. Right, you have to evaluate: am I going to be able to get out, or should I just try to die? Okay, because otherwise, in either case, if you don't do one of those, you're gonna end up staggering yourself, and then that means that you're wasting time, and then you're possibly starting stagger trains where because you weren't there, your team's going in without you, and then they end up dying. Okay, so you can probably go ahead and get into another match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quick. I can vote again.
Traveling to Eichenwald.
Oh, you joined me game. All right, so I'm more now.
Yeah. Halfway game.
Okay, so we don't need to think about nanos anymore, but we do need to make sure that we're sticking a little bit closer to our team because we're a closer ranged healer. So look at just where the bulk of your team is and try to be there.
This will heal you. Thank you. This will help.
You seem in need of aid.
Look to throw damage orbs off of cooldown unless your team needs it for healing. Okay, you just want that gives you a lot of consistent ult charge, especially when you're just poking, right? Because you can throw it across the map.
Enemy contact. Regenerating your cellular structure.
Okay, make sure you're fading towards your team, not away from your team, because then now that puts you in a very, very risky position, and it means that you can't help your team, right? Your team can't help you, and you can't help your team.
Why we stop? I'm restoring you. Get into
And
position.
good heal orb because you needed the healing and you don't have your other support with you. Right now, we just want to be playing super aggressive because of the fact that we're up in picks, right? So maybe Bear, don't fade backwards, because remember we're trying to play aggressive. Maybe just fade either forwards or just fade, like do a fade where we don't move at all, right? Good usage of cover on the Widowmaker.
This will restore you.
Okay, your ult is a very, very fast charging ult since you don't need the combo with anything. Pretty much just use that as soon as you see the fight starting, right? We want to be using it early, don't want to hold on to it too long.
Allow me to repair the damage. Surrender to my will.
Okay. Oh, unfortunate
Okay.
nano. Make sure you're paying attention to the kill feed, because you were winning that fight already, which means that you might not have needed the call, so just be like careful with that, right? And you definitely did not need the nano, right? But that's not on you.
Your strength ebbs.
Sniper!
Right, watch for the Widow behind you, right? I think you saw that, so when you see her behind you, you just want to get out of her line of sight, right? Hey, good round. Okay, I think that was very, very solid Morgan play. You didn't really make a ton of mistakes.
I've mained Moira mainly. I've only started playing Ana this season. Moira pretty much the whole game.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a roll when I think you caps with like 6 or 5.5 minutes. Those aren't the best games to be going over, but you can go ahead and get another one. We have 7 minutes left. Yeah, whenever games are rolls, it's kind of like, oh yeah, well, you did good, yay.
Yeah, I know. You prefer a shit game.
Well, that's also interesting because you don't want it to be necessarily that bad either, right? Because if you're making mistakes that you would not otherwise be making, right? If you're having a bad day or
Yeah.
something, then I'm just talking about stuff that where you're like, oh, well, I don't usually do that. I'm sorry. So typically, like the best games are the games where it's close, right? You want a game where you lost, but you did good, or you lost, but you really weren't really sure why you lost. Okay, because those are the ones where like you want a loss because victories can mask mistakes a lot of the time because you do of course do good, right? But then you don't want a loss where it's a steamroll. Okay, so we're on the Ana again, taking a look at our team composition. Top 3 nano targets. Go ahead.
Reaper ulti, Diva, Zarya full charge, and maybe just Diva.
Yep, very, very good. Okay, so I don't think I need to. I do have a chart that goes over that, so it does not look like we need to. Now we do have a Reinhardt, so that probably trumps the Zarya.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, never mind. We still have the Roadhog.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Well,
but still trumps the Zarya.
the Roadhog with the ulti would trump Zarya.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, so we're doing very good on that end. So I think you're at least who your nano priority doesn't struggle with it very much.
Get into position.
Okay, want to be kind of intaking their team comp.
This will help. Go. I'll keep you healed.
Remember, make sure we can see our team. We want to either be on the high ground here or we want to be kind of in the back left. Okay. Take into account their team comp. They don't have very many long range characters, so we can very easily just sit in the back, right, and just pelt from a distance and not be contested by any hit scan or snipers or anything like that. Okay. But we do have to be careful because they do have a Doomfist. So, and then on top of that,
I
they
was
do
playing
have a
forward
Diva.
with the Doom. Yeah.
Yep.
Doom's probably the hero I struggle with the most.
Yep. So we just have to keep our, whenever we know that they have flankers or people that go on top of us, we need to keep our eyes and ears open for the flanks and watch out for them because that makes their sleeps a little bit easier to land. But if we're pressing our tab, which we should be doing pretty much after every single team fight, right? Because that's going to give us a lot of information. we will know that they swapped to a Bastion and a Torbjorn. So, right now, what we can do in Ana is literally just farm the Bastion and the Hog with our sleeps and our nades, right? Because Bastion and Hog are going to be really easy to hit. Very, very nice, right? Exactly what you want to be doing, because that just pretty much confirms the kill every single time you land those two.
My will made real.
Watching your back.
Remember, when they're all grouped up and we see there's no shield there, we can literally just chuck our abilities in, right? Yeah, like exactly like you just did. If we don't see a shield in the way and we know that they're not about to put it up, right, then that's a very, very easy sleeper nade that we can launch into the crowd, and we're going to be very likely to hit it because it's a crowd of people, right?
You're going to live.
Okay, last fight of the ground if we win this, so be looking to use our ult here.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay, very well played. I do think that they were down like 2 people the whole round, but we'll take it.
I think so too, yeah.
Score 1-0.
Alright, so we do have
Oh,
2 minutes left in the session, so I guess we'll go over like questions here. Do you have any questions about anything we've gone over?
Not really. Just probably the biggest issues I face are positioning and ability usage, right?
Yes, yep, exactly. You got that right on the
Yeah.
head, or nailed that on the head, right? So those are gonna be the 2 biggest things you struggle with, and that you want to work on. And then I guess some other stuff to just be thinking about is making sure that we're landing our ult on the correct people. We're not holding on to it too long. We very consistently have the right person in mind, but the timing needs a little bit of work, right? Make sure that you're using it earlier in the fight and you're not holding on to it for multiple fights in a row.
Okay.
Yep. Make sure that you're paying attention to different team compositions. Good nade, because team comps will change our play style. And then, then we went over a bunch of techie stuff, and well, that should be about it for the main points, right?
I have your back.
When again she's just jumping around their head, just chuck nade at the ground, right? That heals you, catches him out. Right, with solid shields like that, exactly right. You got it perfectly, right? When they have a shield that doesn't move around, all we have to do is just walk around it, right? And then we can land a big fat nade like that, and none of them can heal.
I will keep you here.
Yep, remember that your nade does have an arc. When we're trying to hit it on close to range characters, throw it at the ground more, and we're trying to throw a little bit further, arc it up. All right, so would you mind leading this game? I'm gonna stop the recording here.